copy. I'll have this, everyone sign this one.
Okay, thank you. I've got Gary Smith.
Thanks. Did it for the concert.
They'll all call Gary when we get to that point of the agenda,
Okay.
just in case there's any questions.
Where's Matt?
Matt, it's the anniversary.
Yeah. I guess you're,
Welcome to the Lawrenceburg Redevelopment Commission for November the 14th, 2022 at 4:30 p.m. in the Lawrenceburg Council Chambers. We'll read this notice here. Voluntary Title VI Public Involvement Survey. The following statement shall be read at every public meeting on city premises. As recipient of federal funds and in support of Lawrenceburg's efforts to ensure non-discrimination and equal access to all citizens, the city gathers statistical data regarding participants in city activities. Therefore, we have provided a voluntary Title VI public involvement survey at this meeting. You're not required to complete this survey. The form is anonymous and will be used solely for the purpose of monitoring our compliance with Title VI and ADA. That is in the back of the room, right behind Connie there, in that credenza, if anybody's interested. I know. It was
Fancy
too
word
much.
for that.
It was too much. So if, Ms. Hermish, we could get a roll call.
Yeah. Executive Director Brian Messmore.
Here,
President Richard Richardson.
Present.
Vice President Lenny Fryman.
Here.
Secretary Kevin Schaefer.
here,
Member Janie Wilson.
Here.
Member Brian Johnson.
here.
Lawrenceburg School Board Member Brian Jansen, absent, and City Attorney Del Weldon.
here.
All right, if we've had time to review the meeting minutes from the previous meeting, I'll take a motion to approve those.
So move.
We have a motion from Lenny. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Brian. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any announcements this evening, Mr. Messmore?
None here.
All right, and Ms. Hermish, can you provide us with a financial report for tonight?
Yes, as of November 7th, the balance for redevelopment is $1,814,001.58. And after monies committed to projects, it's $1,544,254.48.
All right, any questions regarding that? Not, we'll go right into our new business, and I'll throw that over to Director Messmore to discuss the declaratory resolution.
All right, if you give me just a moment to get Gary Smith from Reedy Financial here, just in case there's any.
This is Gary.
Gary, this is Brian Messmore here in the beautiful city of Lawrenceburg. You're on speakerphone at the Redevelopment Commission meeting here this evening.
Hi, that's good.
All righty, I will just set you down and you can listen along. If you hear anything out of sorts, feel free to stop me. And if there are any subsequent questions that are beyond the capable staff here, we'll ask you to give us a hand.
Submarine's sinking. I'm sorry about that.
Fair enough? All right.
Yeah, sounds great. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. All right, so the declaratory resolution. Okay, so I'll put this in a box. Dell, you can follow up with more eloquent legal description of this perhaps, but so we've talked in the past about, and this is regarding, a TIF area, okay? But by definition, there are some other names that we reference these areas. So we've talked about expanding around the US 50 area for a few years, and anyway, we finally got to the point where we've established this area. And so tonight, essentially what we have is the declaratory resolution, the facts and findings that tell us and the community that we're going down this path for declaring an economic development area, which is roughly the Highway 50 corridor from Aurora to Greendale, the parcels north of Highway 50, down in the valley along 50, and the parcels south of 50. The majority of those parcels are undeveloped. Some have had some development on here this year, and we're capturing those as well. And those will be captured in the allocation areas. So you have a larger area that we declare as the economic development area, referring to it as the US 50 corridor economic development area. Within that area, we have allocation areas where we use tax increment financing to capture those tax dollars. You have in this map, there's a map of the area, and it's in the shaded color. In the red, I have it here. And the red identify the parcels, and it will be part of the package when we submit it.
Yes.
So there's a map that included with this, there's a parcel list included with this entire resolution that will be part of the formal documentation. What else could I add? In those allocation areas, I believe there are, it's 9 properties, but it's a total of 13 parcels because, for example, Tri-State Liquid Waste is sitting on 3 parcels, so we have to add, or 2 parcels. So there's a couple extra parcels identified in there that the same with Lawrenceburg Self-Storage. So there's more parcels than actual businesses, but that's because of how they're located on the land. So we have the declaratory resolution identifying the economic development area, again, which is roughly the US 50 corridor, north and south. And we also have the allocation area is those specific parcels that I've just referenced. And tonight is the declaratory resolution, then it goes to planning and zoning, then it goes to council, and then it comes back to us for a final vote to establish these areas. That's the process, and that would be in December.
Great job.
Does anybody have any questions about this, or something Brian needs to, or Director Messmore needs to expound on in any way?
Just for the motion purposes, this is our second resolution.
Motion number 2? Or resolution number 2?
Yeah.
I have a request for the final area, the economic development, the map. Could it be scanned and sent with as an attachment in an email? That way we have record of the.
Yes.
I can send the whole thing once, I know we're waiting for one other thing, for one of the exhibits. And I can send everything, the executed resolution, along with the map and everything to the board.
All right. There are no additional questions or discussion. I would take a motion to approve Resolution 2-2022.
Make that motion.
Motion by Brian. Do we have a second?
I second.
Second by Lenny. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Or resolution carries.
Okay, hey, Gary,
Yes, sir.
I believe that concludes that portion of the business where I needed you.
Okay. Sounds good. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate all your help on this, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Brian. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Messmore. I know we've got quite a few projects out there, and you wanted to take some time tonight to give a project update.
Yeah, that I will. If you recall, the tax credit housing 55 and over project over on the Durbin Plaza by the Adult Center in that area, we are expecting to hear back on November 17th the status of our application. So, FYI. Liberty Theater. We have last week we received our first set of schematic drawings, which basically defines the layout of the property, you know, what's included, how big, how many possible seats, where things are going to be located. We reviewed that with our construction manager and the architect and us as the owner. There were no, really variances from how we saw the property being developed in terms of its final use. So all heads and all nods shaking yes. We're moving into the next phase of drawings, which is creating the construction drawings. So they're adding in refrigeration, the mechanicals, plumbing, all those details into the drawings, what kinds of finished materials they want for the ceiling and there's sound deadening materials, and so they're identifying all those materials and square footage is required to cover. And we're hoping for, we'd like to have those construction drawings by the end of this year. That might be a bit of a tall task, but, you know, that's our goal. Once we receive those, we would go out for bid, and the results of that bid will give us the guaranteed maximum price for this project, and hopefully we will be within our budget. Our budget right now is $2.6 million. And I have a copy of the schematics. Some of you have stopped by and seen them. You're welcome to look at them. It does include a mezzanine, use of the basement area underneath the stage for the green room for the musicians, and it uses the basement area underneath the front two stores to add and create capacity for the smaller restaurant and bar that will be up front. And then stage is expanding a little bit, adding some restrooms. Pretty exciting project, quite frankly. Any comments or questions?
So Brian, will it be an open floor plan? Seats
Yes.
will not be fixed to the floor.
Seats will not be fixed to the floor. Open floor plan, within the design are storage areas that are, you know, accessible to efficiently, you know, bring tables and chairs out for the different types of events. Its design is largely a music venue. I mean, that's what the capacity is being built for, but it can be used for, you know, weddings, corporate events, brunches on Sundays, vinyl record exchange weekends, art shows, film shows, anything that can fit in that kind of area. The Whiskey City Festival maybe can, you know, find a new home in there. That's those sorts of things. Plans to be, you know, open 6 days a week minimum. Wants to activate the space.
Sounds exciting to me. I'm really looking forward to this project continuing to move forward, for sure. Somebody have any other questions?
Yeah, I'm excited because I'm practicing up because I want to get on stage.
Yeah.
I'm wanting to do the to be or not to be.
Oh, you want to do a soliloquy?
Hamlet.
Oh,
Hamlet. Yeah.
Yeah.
A what? A soliloquy?
Shake.
Well, he wants to do that, you know.
Wait.
Let's don't take that too far. It's just
Oh,
that ain't me.
I want to make this known here at this meeting that the only person's phone that has not gone off tonight is Lenny's.
Thank you very much.
If
Hey,
somebody could get word back to the,
kudos, kudos.
Good point. First time for everything.
oh, that's not my first time.
all right. So if that is our project update, if you want to fill
I'm
us
not
in
done.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We good there?
Yes.
We're good, thank you.
Okay. Out of breath.
You have so much going on.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Blacklist looks great. I was in there this weekend. Looks amazing.
Yeah, to that point, Blacklist did have a successful transition to their new location on Saturday. Store looks good. I think Joe's and the city are both pleased with the cooperation. Thanks to the Dennings for being there at the right time and right place and getting to a reasonable lease agreement for a long-time merchant or downtown. Very successful one at that, so it's a big deal. Keep
It's awesome.
Space active and keep him here.
Yeah.
Did you hear or do you know of, is there a contract on the A1 auto body?
I don't know if I know there's interest, and I know there are additional environmentals that need to be done. From that standpoint, we have the brownfield grant, so as the city, you know, we can authorize the use of those grant funds for properties within our city. So that's how I know that. I have acknowledge that, you know, those grant
I just wondered, can we share the environmentals that we had already have done?
already did,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
But there is additional that need to be done.
As I understand it, that's correct.
That's what I was wondering. Thank you.
So, just briefly, Maple Street, you know, we've, been dragging this one for a while. Over there on Center Street, the two large vacant lots have always been under some scrutiny and trying to, you know, I think our goal has always been to get it to be a residential property, and I think we've finally got the path to do that. Again, we've used brownfield grant funds to get us here. It was part of the problem historically. We'd spend a little money. It was hard to see the end of spending money, but with the use of the brownfield grant, we've got to the place we know exactly where the materials are, we know what they are, we know the depth of the materials, we know the footprint of the existing space that they're in. So we're preparing a dig and haul work order. Should have that, probably January sometime, but we'll know what's in front of us. It's about 600 tons of materials that have to be removed and replaced. It's not going to be an extraordinary expense for us to be able to get that property suitable for residential use. So I look forward to being able to call that property suitable for residential use in first half 23. Union Hall. We finally met again over there, so we reviewed the site plan. What we've been waiting on is for the developer and the architect to determine the best use of that facility, so to optimize their success in terms of where you can store inventory, you know, where you're how you access those materials, where they're going to be located, where we might need to have a grease trap, and they finally have come to terms with that. So what we've done is taken that site plan, that outline of everything they need. If you recall, they needed the building itself, the space to the south facing the gravel lot to put a indoor-outdoor dining, as it sounds now, indoor-outdoor dining facility. It includes the switchback ramp for ADA access, not giving them any more than what is exactly required for those things to occur. So we've got the outline now. So we've sent it for a survey. Once we have the survey, we're also, there's going to be a couple easements in the alley they're going to be required that we'll have to go to council for. The owner will have to go to council for to obtain those easements. Grease trap. There's already some stairs over there that go to the basement. There's an expectation that those are going to be expanded upon and in use for getting materials from the basement to the first floor as efficiently as possible. So that's where we're at. Survey, consolidation survey, because under there are multiple parcels, so we'll have to get that down to one. And then I'll be back in front of you for the transfer of that property once all those boundaries have been defined and determined and measured against reality, and everything will work. Any questions?
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't want to jump the gun again. Thank you, Mr. Messmore. Are there any additional questions before we move on? No. Because I'm also going to throw it back to Director Messmore because we've got a grant program update as well.
Okay. We've talked in the past, this for reference is the grant program that Main Street facilitates for the Lawrenceburg Redevelopment Commission. We budgeted approximately, plus or minus a couple thousand, about $250,000 to that program. We don't always have to appropriate that much money because most of the times there's several tens of thousands of dollars left in the combination of those programs down there. So that's what we're talking about, those programs that we've always done down there. What I'm recommending this year, and I don't expect a vote tonight unless you're overwhelmingly amazed at my portrayal of what I'm about to suggest, but definitely in December are two new programs. No additional funding because of the historic use of these categories of funding. I was able to drop down the number of grants available in certain categories to come up with enough money, $56,000, to cover these two additional ideas I'm about to bring forward. One is it's copying, mimicking a program that we found in Minnesota. It's called Looking Up, and essentially it's designed to find vacant, uninhabitable second and third and even fourth-story floors to try to incentivize the activation of those floors for either residential and or business office type environments. It would be a pilot program. There would be two $25,000 matching grants. They would not be payable until the owner had a certificate of occupancy and proof of advertising them for use, either residential or business. Again, the premise of the program is that it's to activate unactivated, unusable spaces. We need to get them active. There's some question, and I'll let you ask some questions. There's, what if and what if, but the intent of the program is to activate a space that is unactivated.
$25,000 matching grant program.
Matching that, yeah, expenditures.
Has to be an unactivated space that is above second, third, fourth floor.
Yeah,
They do not get their portion from us till we have the certificate of occupancy. And it's just like any other grant program. I assume that we administer, we would keep track of the receipts, we would know what was being spent.
that's correct.
So, I think we do, as an organization, and Main Street does a very good job of dotting their I's and crossing their T's to make sure they're watching those funds.
It would go through design committee for approval, which is a good group to evaluate and make sure that these are within the guidelines and the intent of the program.
What I like about the program, and we talked a little bit about this, and I think it makes a lot of sense, is that you're taking what could potentially be retail space below in certain areas, and you're activating these upper spaces where, not that we don't love lawyers, but you're activating upper spaces where lawyers or other soft services could go into that area, activate the space, still be in the downtown area, get the convenience of that, while at the same time opening up potential other areas on the first floor. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That would be part of the essential idea of what we're trying to maybe do with a program like this.
Yeah, the best case scenario is, we have professional services move up and we get some more retail on the first floor to help balance and sustain our walkable downtown. So there's activities and plenty to do for visitors.
For that, I love it as a pilot program for us to take, two of these matching grants to do in 2023. I think it's to me, in my personal opinion, I don't know what anybody else thinks, but I think it's a fabulous idea. Like Minnesota seemed like they were right on the mark there.
It's interesting. Let me just read a couple notes and you think about, there's been some excellent attention paid to ground floor storefront spaces, and that's true. That's what we've done. There's an incredible need to support who want to update their historic buildings but lack the capital to fully fund the work. So, you know, I mean, it's a typical historic downtown scenario, you know, another way to get spaces activated. And then, of course, love to have more people living downtown.
What's anybody else think? Do we have questions or?
So I had a concern about this, and I talked to Brian about it a little bit. I think we need to be very careful on the clawbacks that we put in there, because we don't want to give somebody $25,000 to go fix up a unused space and, you know, list it and or move it out, you know, move somebody up in there for 3 months, and then they put the building up for sale. And whoever that person is that buys it, their intent is to utilize that space in the way it was. We just gotta be careful, in my
Would be
opinion, on
an
the
easy
clawbacks on
clawback
it.
to add into the contracts though, correct? Or to what we're doing? I mean,
Maybe they hold it for 3 years or something like that.
would it be out, I don't think it's out of the ordinary with what we've done in the past.
No, I mean, I think it's worth a discussion. I mean, you know, I mean, the other side is, you know, if we're able to assist, you know, a matching grant with somebody and they're able to sell it to somebody who wants to invest in downtown, I don't know that that's all bad either, because the space is complete, you know, and.
Yeah, but the intent is to make it usable space, but if the new owner doesn't want to use it as usable space for that.
Why they wouldn't.
I'm just saying, maybe they want to use it for personal space, and I'm just, something we should discuss. I think it's a good program, but I just think that you gotta make sure its intended, you know, use is what it's really intended to be used for.
Those are valid questions.
Yeah,
Could definitely have a further
I
discussion.
just can't
on that.
answer that one. Kevin, come on, answer that for me.
I don't have an answer either. It's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, what's
It's a
You
discussion.
know what, and I think, you know, we could certainly put that in there, with the caveat.
Maybe it's 24 months or something, I
Yeah,
mean,
with the
it's a
caveat
pilot program.
that if a building was for sale, that, contact the design committee for,
Maybe they just responsible
Authorization.
for paying back the $25,000 investment,
Yeah.
and they make $50,000 off the renovation, so it's a kind of a 50-50 split, so they're
we
getting
can
some,
come up
and
with something, but you're taking notes.
But in essence,
got
you would be happy with the program.
What our lawyers.
oh, absolutely, yeah, I know, I think it's a great opportunity, I just think
No,
that
Kelly.
it's something that we need to be mindful of when we look at the
No, I meant-
callbacks.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't
Lenny,
want
did
somebody
you-
to buy
You
it.
had a question.
I couldn't hear what you guys was talking about a minute ago. But I agree. I think if we're gonna give them this money, that it ought to be set up that the bottom should stay for residential or something that we can use for a while. And if they sell it, put it in there at least for 3 to 5 years, that they can't, excuse me, an insurance company or somebody go in, it'd be something that we can utilize as a city here, because we've got our money in it. I agree with that.
We'll figure it out. We can put some language in there.
Janie, what's your opinion?
Just worth the discussion, that's all.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's a great program, but something to talk about.
Well, I just learned about this today, so, as
Kinda
long
taking it
as,
in.
when it comes down to the negotiation, get the right language in there, you know, we'll hash that out when the time comes, but seems like a good idea to me.
So nobody's outwardly against it, so maybe,
You'll have
Yeah.
the grant application in your hands a couple weeks before the next meeting to review the language.
cool. Sounds great, thank you.
Put that challenge on me.
I got it. It's starred and
Yeah.
I got
This
it.
is what you said.
Yeah.
Is there any other additional new business then, before we move on?
Well, I actually had the second half of my,
I think Richard wants out
I
of
just
here.
cannot let you do your thing tonight, Brian. Go ahead.
He's full of air tonight, Richard, so just be prepared.
so the second, so that took, remember I mentioned that, I kind of carved out 56,000. That was 50 of this. The other 6,000 is called Operation Save That Space.
Yes.
Okay, so we've had a couple situations where we've had an opportunity to get a retailer in on the first floor and lost out to professional services. And I'm not knocking professional services, that we need a good mix of everything. So what this would be designed for is if we had a retailer, a food beverage retailer, what we commonly refer to as food beverage retailer and or preferred, in the pipeline who was looking for a space, and we had a professional service move out, we could bridge the gap between that business getting into that location by paying whatever the current rent was for up to the time we're either out of money or the time that business moves in. We've had a couple occasions where we had somebody in the pipeline, and that may or may not have done it, but it would have been a consideration to hold a space, for a couple months to get that retail person up to a position where they're ready to go in. It's a bit, it's innovative, but I think, we could use a couple more cool retail spots downtown to help make that, sustainable for all of them. I mean, I don't know what that magic number is, but a healthy, walkable experience is what we're after, and obviously a great place to live. So just take it under consideration. Call me with questions. It's pretty straightforward, but it's when we have somebody who's, in the pipeline, almost ready to go. Perhaps somebody that's, they have to have a location before they come in here, so. Well, while I'm on that note, I'm gonna propose that we do 3 food beverage retail $25,000 build-out grants for next year. We've done them for the past 2 years. Those have to come through you guys and girls. So in the event that, somebody gets it that far in the business development process, got a location and met all the requirements, we'll bring them in and see if we can help them get going. And remember, that money goes to the built out of the space, not to anything else, so that the investment stays with the property. And again, another tool to help make that space available for retail or food beverage retail and hang on to it as food beverage retail since that investment's been made.
Brian, does all of this go live January 1st?
Yes.
So we don't miss out on anything by not voting today?
No.
No.
Okay.
We can vote in the December meeting.
So you can prepare the two.
I mean, conceptually, you don't have to take a vote, but if everybody's sounds like conceptually we're okay with the looking up. I don't know about the other one, but we'll, I'll get the language to you. Take a vote.
We can include the applications in the next packet for you
Yeah.
guys to review and get it back to us before the meeting so we can make any changes and then we can vote on it.
Sounds good. And I did remember that you wanted to talk about that, and I just forgot. My apologies. Anything else?
Not under new business. Dell, did you want to talk about 70s High as new or old? Or does it matter?
Let's table that for now. I just wanna try one more time to see if we can do it through the city,
Okay.
without the city having to transfer
Okay.
property to us. But so 70s High is the building next to, it's in between the Framery and Votal's law office, and somebody bought that. They're putting a business in the bottom floor, and there's a small parcel that if we transfer that to them from our Framery lot, we'll make both lots even. Our lot extends into theirs a little bit, and then they can build a garage in the back, which is what they intend to do. So just trying to figure out the easiest way to do that. It's taking a long time, but we're working on it.
So next agenda, we'll put.
And the
that
reason it
on.
would have come up because if we can't find another way, that gets transferred to us, and then I would ask you to transfer it to that property. It's a little sliver about 3 feet by 25 feet, and it doesn't line up like all the other property lines. It's it may be correct in terms of how it got there, but it doesn't make sense today whatsoever. In fact, there's a sidewalk down the middle of it. I mean, it's a little bit.
Yeah, you can look at it on Beacon and kind of see.
It's a little bit of a mess.
They're trying to help the new property owners out. And
Yeah.
We'll make it happen.
Council voted to move forward, and thankfully so, by the way. That gave the confidence to the new owner to buy it and put a retail business in there. So that was the benefit to us, and the benefit, thankfully from council so we just gotta get it through the pipeline. So.
All right. No additional new business. The only item under old business we have is the Main Street report. That has been provided to us. Do you have anything additional to add to that?
I don't have anything. We have design committee tomorrow. We've got 3 applicants, sign and awning. I don't recall the other 2, but those might be the last applicants of the year, considering.
All right. Anybody have additional questions in regard to that? If not, I will go ahead and take a motion to approve the redevelopment claims for this meeting.
So move.
Motion by Lenny. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Kevin. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And we've got comments from the audience. If there is none, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion by Brian. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Lenny. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Brian.